Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and yes, it's another video for Spellbinders. During this time, we are going to use the large die club of the month called Always Welcome for October 2020. This die set is absolutely phenomenal. It creates the most gorgeous front door, and you can add to it any way that you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with my background panel first. So I have a piece of Desert Storm, and I grabbed my brick stencil from the from Tim Holtz that I usually use in my art journals. I thought this was perfect. So I'm just taking this and I'm going to move it from side to side. I'm not worried about the center, because I am going to cover that up with the door, but I did not want a solid coverage of white either. I am using my Hero Art unicorn. I'm giving this a try. I am a fan of the Desiree K, but I like to try new things. So I am trying out that unicorn white pigment, and yes, I'm liking it. I grabbed my Desiree K, excuse me, gray ink here, and I grabbed another one of my Tim Holtz stencils for cobblestones. So I wanted that to be the porch when it comes to my image. So again, just taking your die cuts and adding a stencil or a texture to them can make the difference when it comes to the pieces. So I've cut my door out. Now you can keep a piece of cardstock on the side because it can hinge. It can actually open and close. I am placing some double-sided... Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Oh my God, I sneezed on my own video. I am so sorry, but I didn't want to stop. Oh, that'll go down in history. So I'm not redoing this, guys. I'm sorry. You're going to have to deal with the sneeze. So I added double-sided foam squares to my pillars on the side. I wanted them to be in the front just a little bit, and that top piece is going to be pushed to the back. Now, again, Spellbinders, when it comes to their dies, they think of all the details. And one of the details that they did think, because this is going to take me forever to take the release paper off of all the foam squares that I put on here, is just those little tiny thoughts. You know, they thought about envelopes. So a rectangle with a triangle, create your envelope. They thought of this beautiful window outline so that I was able to dig into all of these panels that I have, because I love making backgrounds, whether it's watercolor, ink smushing, or anything like that. But I chose one of those so that I could, you know, inlay those die cut pieces for the window. And even for the banisters on each side of this door, there are pieces that you can add, these strips. You'll see in other videos where people used both of them, put them on the top and the bottom. I just wanted mine to be on the bottom, and that's the beauty of these dies, to create what you see. I knew there were supposed to be two, you know, one on each top and one on each bottom, but I didn't want to have, you know, too much of that going on. So I did choose, so in case somebody sees, well, everybody else is putting them on the top and the bottom. Yes, you can do that. I chose not to. We have a die that cuts two squares out, and that is to make the center of the door design pop out even more. Here's where I'm putting the glue inside of the window. And you can see when I die cut this, I was just lucky that they stayed in there because I did want them to pop out. So now I'm able to use my wax pencil to pick these pieces up and to place them in there. And because I chose one of my inked smush backgrounds with, I think it was tumbled glass, if I know that color, then it just looks like that there's a highlight in there or the sun shining on it, and so forth. So I really liked that. I'm now grabbing those smaller pieces to make sure that they are in there as well. But think of the beautiful design that you could make making a stained glass window in that. I cut the wreath 2 times, one out of dark green and one out of light green. And what's great with this, I was able to dig into my stash and use some up of that cardstock. I used a very odd brown that I had in my scraps for my floor mat, and I chose the word wishes. There is one in there as well that says welcome. But this is going to have a Christmas theme. So you can see that's where I put the gold bars at the bottom. And now I'm putting in the mail slot. And in that, I will have 2 letters that will sit in there once that's dry. I also use the gold cardstock to add the doorknob. So this is the ingenious of the envelopes, a triangle and a square, or excuse me, a rectangle. And then I cut a bunch of the poinsettias, or you could do snowflakes, out of a bright red and a dark red cardstock so that I can layer them with the 2 different colors. Added some glue to the top of my rectangles and going to place my triangles in place. And now I'm just going to set my letters down into the opening so that they will stay in place. And then I'm going to set one down onto the ground as if it fell out of the mail slot. Going to set my wreath in place right on the door and then add the layering of the poinsettias. And I will use my wax pencil for that as well. So if it was a bright red base, it's going to have a dark center and vice versa. Then I'm going to set my dots up on my wreath and then get these set in place as well. What I have attached to my wax pencil is a colored pencil extender that I get off of Amazon. I found a bunch of them, very reasonable. And then I do use them for my colored pencils as well. So gotta have spares. I'm going to use my gold gems from Studio Katya and for the centers of my poinsettias, and I'm using the smallest size. Gonna make sure they're away so I don't spill them. And I'm going to place this onto a standard A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it is going to be a top folding card. I do always have cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 11, and is the cardstock that I use for my bases. It is a 110-pound weight, and I get it from the paper mill. I love my Nina Crest, and yeah, I'm not using that for my card bases. So I do hope you enjoyed today's project, creating your own front door, whether it's for the holidays, for the fall, or just to say welcome for someone that just purchased a new home. Again, this was using the Spellbinders Large Die Kit of the Month for October 2020, and again, it is called Always Welcome. I do hope you enjoy it, and all the links to the product, mainly this kit that I used, will be listed down below in the video description, along with links to their store, to their gallery, to their blog, because we can't have enough inspiration for Spellbinders. So please make sure you check those out. If you have any questions, just make sure you leave that down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe, be part of my group, and ring that bell so that you know when the next video is ready for you. I thank you so much for stopping by and spending this little bit of time with me today. Continue to enjoy your day, continue to stay safe and healthy, but always remember what's most important for me. Even if you just do it a little bit, it will help. Always be creative. Till next time, everyone. Take care.